सालों के बाद भी क्या है जो आपको हौसला देता है?
मैं बस इतना चाहता हूँ कि हमारे साथ जो हुआ वो किसी और के साथ ना हो.
So I am absolutely overjoyed and incredibly happy to have Rajshri Deshpande with us. Her performance in Trial by Fire has been such a great kickstart to the Indian entertainment industry in 2023. So Rajshri, a warm welcome to you and congratulations on the show.
Thank you so much, Anand. Thank you. It really means a lot.
I mean, I'm gonna go straight into the deep end of the questions, right? Because I feel like when it comes to playing a role whose mother of a mother who is in anguish, who has lost her kids and is fighting so hard for justice, which aspects of yourself did you have to dive into and delve into in terms of presenting that grief on screen?
I think the anguish is, of course, it is a story of a mother who has lost two children. But me being, I'm not a mother, I don't have children, but I'm part of the society. I'm part of this community, and I know these journeys. Because as my social work is there, I have seen so many people suffering with so many other things. So, and of course, it's a real story of Neelam and Shekhar, and how Neelam has going through her journey from past 25 years. So it's in front of all of us. So honestly, I had to find the emotional truth. I had to find something which is more closer to being Neelam, something which has to, because it's a real tragedy, it's a real incidents and real stories. It hit me more harder, and because, as I said, I'm part of the society. So many things is, I still have to deal with so many things on ground, and I feel that things has to change. And so Neelam's journey became so close to me, because I'm also dealing with some something similar on ground with my social work. So getting into Neelam was of course difficult as an actor, but the emotional journey, I'm also going through the similar thing. Of course it's not easy, but had to find something deeper, which is closer to what it is. So yeah, I was, yeah.
So the social work aspect really must have helped you then to really discover, I guess, that fire that she has to fight for justice, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Because her journey, it's not, I'm just not looking at it as a that, oh man, what happened, how someone has to deal with all these things. But I've looked at is that, how someone stood up, how every day she gets up and she goes to the trial court and she comes back, and it's not just for 1 day, 2 day, or 5 years or 10 years. It's been 25 years she's doing the same thing. So how inspiring that it is, and how important that everyone should stand up for their own rights. For if something happens to them, they should stand up for themselves and for people. Like, even for her, the journey started with children, but it's not just for children now. She's working for all of us. She's changing, she's working on laws, she's working on fire and safety regulations. So she is working on a bigger mission, and that mission will be helpful for all of us. So I think yeah, it's a very important journey she's on.
How important was it for you to meet Neelam, the real life Neelam, and get that inspiration from her? What was your interaction like when you met her?
So we didn't meet her during the whole shoot. We met her after the shoot, before the show was releasing. So when I met her, of course, the first thing was because she saw the whole show, and the validation was very important for me. When she said how she liked the show, and when she said how you were so believable and how you found me. So that itself gave me a goosebumps. And of course, I was in tears because I don't know what to say. I was completely in awe of her, and I was thinking that how do I start any conversation? Because I thought I just want to sit and just listen to her without even asking her anything. So she just gave me a big tight hug and she said, "You're Neelam, you're not supposed to cry. You're not going to cry. And you have long way to go and many, many battles to fight. So get yourself together, have courage and strength in your life." So that was my first meeting with Neelam. And I think, even after our shoot finished, I carried her with me because I think we all need to have Neelam inside us, because otherwise it's very difficult. We live in a world where many things happens, ups and downs is there, and a lot of times it's very difficult for us to kind of come over, or then we move on with things. I think we need to have a courage like Neelam, and stand up for our own fights.
Fights, yeah, for definitely. I absolutely agree with you on that. But I think one thing that I found very fascinating about Trial by Fire is the way it captures grief. The way जिस तरह से वो grief को दर्शाता है. I did an interview with Prashant and we spoke at length about how tough it is as a filmmaker for him to present that on screen. For you as an actor, when you are dealing with grief on screen, it must take a toll on you mentally as well. How did you deal with that?
Yeah, it did took a toll on me. It was not easy because of course it was a real story, and I was constantly thinking that it's such a huge responsibility, and that I cannot, and I cannot overdo anything. It has to be so real, so you have to kind of reach that emotional level where you feel that you're living that space, living that moment, and it's actually happening to you. But then you, as an actor, you have to come back to it, that okay, because you have next day to shoot another space. So for me, reaching that level of emotional zone and then go back home and get up next day was a very difficult. I only know how I've lived that one whole year. It was I And along with that, we were dealing with third wave of pandemic, and where you see, where you open your phone, or you talk to people and all, and there are so many of my own people were suffering with oxygen issue and all. And I was also dealing with the same thing, that, okay, I'm portraying Neelam when she's she's in the court or she's at home, and she's constantly thinking that when things will change, when will she get justice. And here, when I go back home, I'm looking at my village issues, or my farmers, or my people dealing with, they're not getting oxygen and all. And going back home also, I couldn't release my stuff, because I'm dealing with that when the healthcare will change, when things will happen. So I don't think so I've rested the whole 1 year. And what I did was, how believable I can make this. So I want this to be so true, so real, that people should. Prashant, Nair, and Kevin, Prashant, who's our director also, showrunner also, and a writer also, he has worked on the script so well that we discussed everything in detail. So while portraying every, like, how she will be gradually, the beginning, what her emotion will be, and the mid, she will find a little strength, and then later on how she will be calmer and composed, that way. So we kind of worked on a graph together. And of course, scenes, there are a lot of times it used to happen that I used to feel that maybe I can portray in this way, or then maybe shayad wo thoda sa ek sur upar jayega, maybe she will be angry over here, or no, maybe she will be she will not be that angry, and she wants to say certain things in a very sarcastic way. So I used to kind of work on every scene in detail, that, how it will be, what will happen later. Because for me, it all important that what happened before and what happened later also. So I mix everything together कि वो कैसे आई होगी, वो कोर्ट में कैसे आई होगी, क्या हुआ होगा आज सुबह घर में. So I work on every backstory, I work on every little detail of the character, like कि क्या खाया होगा से, because that's what my process is. And I always feel that, the more I work on it as a history, and the more I work on in detail, it's easier for me. Even the dimension between Shekhar and Neelam, their relationship between each other, that also helps me to kind of work on every scene. And then when you go on set, and when you're with your director, with your co-actor, then you find that energy over there. Because आप ऐसा नहीं हो सकते आप मैंने इस तरह से प्रिपेयर किया तो मैं वहां जाके I'll perform it in this way. It doesn't happen that way always. When you go there, then you have to kind of find that similar energy and work together. It's collaborative. Then you work together in certain way where the scene has to come out properly. So yeah.
Mhm. Yeah, no, definitely. Oh, absolutely well articulated there. And I think that's what it definitely seemed that way, I guess I think that's why screenplay is so important, because it really helps the viewer to really capture their attention, and maintain that. And I've even gone on record and said I think this is Netflix's best series since Delhi Crime. So you can imagine the effect it's had on all of us. But in terms of when we look at the series and the context and the premise of it, the frustration that they must have had, I felt that. I went to Delhi recently, and some of the attitudes of the people that were there are pretty much still quite similar, even now. And it's very scary to observe that. But how has doing a show like Trial by Fire affected or impacted your perspective on justice and corruption and all these issues?
Yeah. See, of course, it really affects you. Like it, even if you look at initial years of Neelam, you see that rage, and when I work on ground with my social work, I also started with rage. I used to feel that when things will change, how things will change, and why you're not working on it, and why things are not happening. And so I had a lot of questions. I still have a lot of questions, but I'm dealing with them in a different way, because as even Neelam said, that things has to change, then you start working on it. And that's exactly, I also believe that when we talk about even corruption, or when you talk about injustice, or justice system, or healthcare, or many other issues, education issues, or farmers issues, water issues, environment issues, we just cannot keep on talking about it or discussing about it. That's also one way to make people aware about it, but you have to work on it. You have to work on ground where the subsequent change should happen. Maybe it can be in a smaller way, but start. Think about the corruption as an issue, how you deal with your things. That's more important. If you think that healthcare is an issue, do you see your area safe enough? Even the education issues, do you see the space where you are, and what kind of education the underprivileged people are getting, or children are getting? So you have to start working on it. I definitely go through a lot of rage also with the similar issues in our country, which is whatever is happening. But I found a way to keep like a peace, because I feel that I have to start working. I cannot say that COVID is really happened this way, and the government fail, or whatever it is. We cannot keep saying that. What you did is very, very important.
Yeah, I think that's what I even told Prashant as well when making a series like this, because I'm very skeptical of shows which really tries to portray India in a bad light, which kind of says, "Arey, ye kitna backward desh hai," like a Slumdog Millionaire type approach, where it's basically looking down at the country. Because I feel India is progressing so well. जो infrastructure हो रहा है, अंदर से कितना बदलाव आ रहा है, and it's such a positive thing. But I think that's where I think the director's vision comes into it, isn't it? And perhaps portraying it. I think that's why by him focusing on the human emotions, it made more sense,
True.
because it sort of related with the audience. But I think actually, let's talk a bit about your career so far. I mean, what a journey. I think it's been I think it's been like over a decade since you made your debut. I think with Talash, right? That was like your first role, I think, in the industry. And then suddenly you did Angry Indian Goddesses and so many other roles like that, which kind of then made you who you are. How would you say these 10 years have evolved for you? If you could summarize that in a few sentences.
It's a lot of hard work. Uh, I think one sentence said anything, everything.
It's a lot of hard work. मुझसे और मत पूछो यार कितना मेहनत किया है.
Imagine starting a journey, one scene in a film, just a scene where, he knows you, you're just there, you just come, portray one scene and leave. That's it. And now here I am, heading a Netflix show and getting so much love from people. I think that says that hard work and craft really matter.
Yeah, exactly. I'm going to ask you that. How tough is it actually? Because obviously for you, it's not been easy for sure. Because आपने बहुत बढ़िया फिल्मों में काम किया है, and you've done some great work behind you. But to get to this stage, it must not have been easy. Like, how do you stay positive? What gives you your source of positivity even amidst this? Because this industry is extremely cutthroat.
Yeah, see, Anush, I left my career and I joined this industry. So I left, if I rate it to 10, then I was at 7 or 8 in my career. I left that and I became 0 and I entered here. So I had nothing to lose at that time. And I just wanted to focus on good work. I didn't want it to do something which will make me feel bad about myself or, so I chose to do only good cinema or good work. Of course, initial years, I also did something where, one scene here, one scene there, some television show here and some episode there. I did that. But when Angry Indian Goddesses happened, it gave me a sense of realization that this is what I want to do. And then later on, I got a lot of offers, but I decided that no, I want to be just part of good cinema, good team. Yeah, of course, I did then S. Durga and then Manto and Nirvana and then of course Sacred Games happened. That also gave me a lot of people really admired my work, but that got me a lot of work, but again, similar way. So it was very difficult for me to go back to the similar zone just because I was getting work. So I kept on saying no. So I decided that I'm okay to live a minimal life. I'm okay to not follow a fame or anything. I'm okay not to follow any kind of a formula. But I always believe that there'll be people who believe in craft. So I can only do is I can keep on working and learning my craft again and again and again to make it more perfect. So when I get in a role like Neelam, I can put my heart and soul into that. So I always believed in that hard work and craft, and it is difficult. I don't know even after this also how my journey is going to be, because till the time you don't do a commercial cinema, you're not famous enough. But me looking different in all my work, I don't think so people will even realize that that's me who portrayed Neelam.
Yeah, I feel what's happened, Rajshri, as well. Like, I feel like a lot of these series and films, if we think about it, अगर हम last year की भी बात देख ले, तो भूल भुलैया 2 ने और दृश्यम 2 ने काफी बढ़िया business किया था. I feel like it's also a major reason is because I think the audience is kind of missing that nostalgia, जो nostalgia factor है, वो थोड़ा सा बढ़ गया है because of the pandemic, I feel. Do you kind of also feel that, nostalgia has become a lot more relatable for audiences now, even sentimentality as well? Because a lot of the films that we've seen as well that have done well, there's a lot of sentimental value. And I think even with Trial by Fire, it's very high on emotions. So do you feel like the sphere has changed now? Do you feel like the audiences are going perhaps what we used to watch, like you said, the real stories? Do you think that's more coming onto the surface now because of the pandemic?
No, I think audience always wanted to watch the real stories. I think we changed their taste, in between. We kept on doing that again and again and again with certain kind of a cinema, and we think that this works, and that formula people started following, trend people were following. But I don't think so. I think our audience is very sharp. They understand everything. So I think we need to give them what they like imagine, the amount of love Trial by Fire is getting is unbelievable. People are, and it's not just the industry who's watching this, or not just the urban people are watching it. It's been watched by all tier 3, tier 4 cities,
Mm.
so it's traveling to so many areas where you feel that, okay, where you think that, okay, who will watch Netflix? But people are watching, people, the word of mouth is so powerful. If you look at the kind of a commercial cinema gets marketed, and, if you look at the shows getting marketed, it's a different space, because commercial is a huge, and there is a lot of stake involved and all. So they get marketed very highly. But here it's purely word of mouth. People are loving
Mhm.
the show, people are discussing the show, and who are not part of the film industry. They are, bankers too. So I'm getting messages from people like, like students. Like a lot of times people think that it's not youth won't like it, or youth won't follow
Mm.
it, or youth won't watch it. But I think I'm getting messages from class 12 people, or to, first year or second year students, to 60, 70-year-old people. So it's
Mhm.
not that we always feel that, this is a massy, or this is only for these people, or this is for that people. I think if it's a good project, if it's a good storytelling, it's packaged properly, then I
Mhm.
think, I think there is no this thing. There is a sea of people will watch this space. So
Very
we kind of taboo it in this way, that, okay, this is not massy, or this is this.
true. Mhm.
We need to start, like, restructuring that space.
Yeah, and I think also, like I said to you, Rajshri, as well before we started this interview, that I feel like I think your life is gonna change. I think after Trial by Fire, I really honestly think that, because I feel like this performance was just, it was, words cannot express how to summarize it. It just was so hard to watch, but yet so gripping. And I think for you, and like I'm sure you must be getting a lot of love for it as well. But how do you feel? I mean, what impact has the show had now in terms of maybe the prospects of offers coming your way or anything like that? How has things changed for you, if at all?
Yeah, I don't know. This show is just out. It's been just what, 15 days now. Of course, I'm still getting a lot of calls, even from the industry. I'm getting a lot of calls. Many, bigger celebrities also called. I don't want to name many of them, but they're really, people like, sending me a lot of love and care, and a lot of, appreciation on my way. But let's see. I'm really looking forward how things will be, and I'm really looking forward to work on great projects with amazing people. So yeah, I'm still looking for scripts. Reading couple of things. I'm not in a hurry. Honestly, I'll tell you, I'm a very slow person. If I get anything, I really like to work hard on it. I can't work on 5 projects at the same time just because
Mm.
I'm getting work. No, doesn't happen with me. I'm absolutely fine with one project also. If it's written well, if it's, team is good, everything is good. Though so small or big, nothing matters to me. What matters to me is how good the script is, how good the team is. Are they, working on sensitively and sensibly? All these things matters to me first, and then the later on, later on the maths, then, yeah, then it can come from an independent director, first time filmmaker, to maybe, a celebrated filmmaker. It's okay.
Yeah, and I think that's what I love about you, Rajshri, is like even Nirvana in as well. Like it's an independent film, but yet it was such a brilliantly made movie. And I think when it comes to, I love what you said there about you working steadily. And I think that's such an important factor because I feel what's happened now is that there's been such a rush. I can feel that rush, not just in the industry, but I think all around me in the world. कि नहीं नहीं पहले मुझे ये चाहिए नहीं फटाफट ये कर दो वो कर दो. And I feel like with actors as well, because it is such a tough industry to break into. I feel like sometimes वो एक हल्ला गुल्ला में फंस जाते हैं.
Yeah, no, that's so bad, Anuj. I tell you that, I get a lot of calls from a lot of actors also, and they are so worried that it's not happening, or and they forget to even work on their craft because they kept on thinking that, koi party mein chali jao, main koi isse mil lu, main koi usse kar lu. And I always feel that I keep on telling them that's okay, you meet people, you go on networking and doing all that stuff, but please work on your craft. Keep working on it. Make yourself so perfect that no casting director or no director will say no to you. Give that audition has to be so perfect where people can say that, okay, that's what I want. She's the one. Make yourself better first. बाकी सारी चीजें होती रहेगी. And be part of the society. And because we forget that, कि we are part of the society, we are part of a family, where you have to take care of yourself and your people and your surrounding, because that's part of your performance. अगर आप अपने खुद को प्यार नहीं करोगे, घर वालों को प्यार नहीं करोगे, अपने आसपास वालों को वो कंपैशनेट काइंडनेस नहीं रखोगे अपने पास, तो आप अपना जो काम कर रहे हो उसमें भी आप 100% नहीं दे पाओगे. और आप 100% नहीं दे पाओगे तो आपका परफॉर्मेंस खराब हो जाएगा. सो यू हैव टू balance is very important rather than rushing and मुझे इतने सारे likes मिलने चाहिए और मेरा Instagram इतना बड़ा होना चाहिए और मैं इतने अच्छे कपड़े पहनूं और मैं फिर I'm wearing this, I'm wearing that. इसमें लोग इतने फंस जाते हैं ना कि they forget that you're an actor. Your first job is to perform. If you perform, then whatever you wear is okay. So, and I'm glad I met such people who think in that way, and I hope I get to meet only those people in my life.
So beautifully said again. And I think Rajshri also, agar hum dekha jaye na, see, don't get me wrong, I love influencers and I myself would like to consider myself a little bit of one as well. But the thing is, I feel also kya ho raha hai कि मैं कुछ actors के साथ बात कर रहा था, and I feel like it's a concern as well at this stage where the real culture that's there, the Instagram, the social media culture that's there, it's kind of overlapping. People are misconstruing that for acting, because acting अलग बात है. एक माइमिंग करना और मिमिक्री करना वो एक पार्ट है एक्टिंग का, but fully वो क्राफ्ट नहीं है, right? So do you feel as well at this stage it's very important for budding actors especially to really like hone that craft rather than just get carried away with the whole PR side of things and the media side of things? Would you agree with that as well?
Absolutely. I think, I have huge respect for influencers. It's not easy. Trust me, it's very, very difficult because you have to follow the trend. You have to be perfect and you have to आज सुबह जो किया मैंने उससे ऊपर एक अगला वाला वीडियो होना चाहिए. So it's something which is very difficult to keep a track on. So I hats off to all the influencers. I think it's a really, really hard work. But when it comes to performing a character which is different than you are, what happens, I feel that आप जब एक चीज कर करके आपको उस बॉडी लैंग्वेज की, उस डायलॉग डिलीवरी की, आपको उस तरह की, उस वैसी ही करने की आदत हो जाती है. I always feel that in case if you get a character or something, take a break, empty yourself with that person inside you, because you have to feel another person. I think everybody can work on it if they work a little bit on the craft. आप अगर थोड़ा पढ़ाई कर लो, how to get into the character and all, it's possible. So I always feel that, take that break, empty the person inside you, because you're influencers where you have to work every second of your life. So empty yourself and then start getting involved with the character which you have to get into. Otherwise, क्या होगा पता है? And then you have to shut yourself with that character. अदरवाइज
Yeah.
आप ऐसा नहीं होगा कि आप एक्टिंग कर रहे हो और शाम को आपको एक वीडियो बना के आपको डालना है.
जी.
Then you have to minus yourself from that world and just be in this zone. फिर आप कहीं ना कहीं उस कैरेक्टर को अच्छी तरह से निभा पाएंगे. So I definitely don't have any this thing that, influencers or everyone should be part of this world. Everyone should be.
Yeah.
A singer to influencers to mimicry to everything, because it's an entertainment space. It's a space where we are telling stories. So we all are. You're also telling a story like this. So, but yeah, when you're portraying a character, you're living in someone's life for that particular month or 2 months or whatever, then you have to follow a ritual, a ritual of, keeping yourself and that influencer character of yours aside and just be there, immerse yourself into that zone and then portray it. I think then it's possible. But if you want that also world and this also world, then your performance will be same, both. फिर मतलब क्या है, आप मतलब वहां पे भी सेम ही काम करते हो, यहाँ पर भी सेम करते हो. फिर आप अगर हार्ड वर्क ही नहीं करना चाहते हो, then that space I don't know, like how do I say that's a wrong space then.
Yeah. And I'm glad you mentioned that, because even in being an influencer is a form of art. It is an art and it requires a lot of dedication as well. So I agree definitely with what you said as well. But I think one thing, Rajshri, is that jo aapki jo mujhe personality bahut pasand hai is that you, no matter what it is, no matter what answer you're giving, you always give it with a smile. There's always a smile that comes on your face. Tell me one thing. Rejections are never easy, and I'm sure you must have faced a lot of them in this industry also, even though you've of course been very steady and you have your pace that you work at. But what has rejections taught you the most, and what helps you? Again, I think for positive ki baat, huh?
I think patience, of course. Patience is the first thing, because see, rejection of course, failures of course, break you. I am not a god or anything, I'm a human being. That that kind of space also broke me many a times, but I had to kind of construct myself again and start again. I think I always believe that it's okay, learn your lesson. Maybe things are not perfect, maybe you didn't work that well, work yourself, work on again and give another audition, maybe things will happen. So yeah, so I'm here because of that, because I had a lot of patience. I think because I believed that craft is the most important thing, and only that will give me work. So I never delve into anything else. मैं काम किया मैंने, or I left for my village to do some school work or water work or anything. So I hardly met people even after that, even after any work of mine which came out. So I believe that कि अगर मैं ज्यादा से ज्यादा सोसाइटी में रहूंगी तो ही मैं अच्छी कैरेक्टर्स और अच्छा किरदार कर पाऊंगी. So yeah, so rejection never kind of it do bother me, of course, but not for a long time. अभी मैं सीख गई हूँ rejection से deal करना, mentally, physically, psychologically. I know that how to handle them.
That's amazing. And I think you really are resilient, Rajshri. And I think your craft as an actor really reflects that. And again, it's been such a pleasure to have you on Filme Shilmy and to, talk about Trial by Fire. I mean, it's such a revolutionary show. And I'm so glad that Netflix has presented this story, which really needed to be told, I think, to mainstream audiences also. So thank you so much, Rajshri, for joining me on Filme Shilmy. And I can't wait to catch up with you super soon.
Yeah, thank you so much, Anuj. And one more thing I want to tell you is, even if you even the rejection of failures, it's not end of the world. life is so beautiful. It's so filled with kind people and compassionate people. I think living is the most important part. बाकी सब तो होता जाता है.
Absolutely. That's such a beautiful way to end our interview. But thank you so much, Rajshri, for joining me. It was such a pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Anuj.
Thank you. Rajshri, before you go, is it okay if you can just quickly smile for me? I need to take a quick picture for social media. Okay, lovely. That was so good. Thank you so much, Madhvi, as well, for making this happen. Thank you. Sorry for taking up so much time. Thank you. Bye.
Okay, bye.